Ciao loves, this is Gemma with Drawing Down the Stars, and this is your November new moon and monthly overview reading. This is the 9th lunar month and lunation number 1260. During the 9th lunar month, we just have a few festivals that will be indications to what unfolds during this month. And as always, we will read from the moon's placement, the lunar mansions, as well as the fixed star of Arcturus. And for further information, you can always visit the Notion page, which includes the ancient festivals, the list of dates under each sign of the moon's transit, and the yoga practices that are correlated with that, as well as deeper meanings and the positions of both the new moon and the full moon. All right, let's dive in. Okay, on this new moon, the sun and the moon meet at the lunar mansion of Swati. This is in the heart of Libra. And as always, this is from the Vedic standpoint. The Swati, the lunar mansion, is very, very powerful in terms of cutting and transformation. This moon is going to mark a specific point in terms of regenerating the self from the inner self. It's going to shift the perspective of personality, self-reliance, and also how ego is generating its life force to what it creates in its external world from its internal motivation. Now, this is indicative of a balance between material and spiritual. The tendency with the moon in this position is it's going to really unfold during this entire month. The materialities, the pole of this sign, of this lunar mansion, the pole of how we define our ego self or through our self-personality into material acquisition. In addition to that, it's a double-edged sword. So it is going to push you to bring spiritual into materialization, but not be defined by it. This sign is also represented by Vayu. Vayu in the Hindu standpoint is the god of wind or life breath. And I want you to understand that this perspective is more predominant in your life force, right? How we shift our winds, how we shift our directive, how spirit is flowing more predominantly through the vessel, or what we call the spiritualization. During this new moon, we have Jupiter retrograde and Saturn retrograde. Now, Saturn goes direct on the full moon on the 15th. Another key aspect of this is Rahu. Rahu is the north node, and it's really playing hard in the unfoldment of the energies of this month. Now, Rahu, for those of you that don't know, the north node is going to move us more towards our karma in this life cycle, what we are seeking to gain and achieve. So it's going to really push heavily, just like Rahu is ahead of the snake. This sign is like a snake. It's going to be about the evolution of the inner potential, the evolution of the inner self. Just like a snake shedding its skin from the inner alignment, it's going to be the same premise. I want you to think of shedding to reveal yourself. Okay, it's a cultivation from within. There's a shift in terms of attraction and repulsion. What we're attracted to, what we're repulsed by, what we are essentially doing the dance, and how we bring equilibrium into our lives through the self. It will be predicated on the cultivation from within. So how you are moving from within, or your inner generation. A lot of this is going to create agitation of the soul, and it's going to agitate, either you might be mentally agitated, because again, whenever we have Vayu or the air element, we're going to have a strong sense of mental agitation. And I want you to think of mental agitation as sharpening the stone or smoothing things out, right? It's just going to help us shift into a greater balance. Now, from the moon's position in Swati, this lunar mansion, Swati, is ruled by Rahu, the north node. It is the sign of Libra ruled by Venus. But let's go further into the lunar mansion, because that's going to reveal the inclination of the mind and the energies that lie behind the sign. From this lunar mansion, Swati, its ruler, Rahu, is in Pisces. It's 6 signs from Libra. It's going to emphasize even more so the transformation of the subconscious and the unconscious mind. It's going to really push us more towards the inner spiritual objective. So it's going to show us the influences of our external world. And we're going to have a strong pull in terms of self-gratification, personal gain, inward reflection. It can be distorted and deranged. And what this distorted inner perspective does is it creates a self-centeredness or a hypercriticalness, or when you're only focusing on your purview, your own personal perception. This is going to bring into full view pain and deprivation. Okay, if you're personally just focusing on me, self-gratification, then this is going to be a harder unfoldment. This is what needs to evolve. It is the evolution, the shedding of the self, that skin, that personification, to understand the deeper inner motivation of life's purpose, of your purpose, of the karma that needs to play through. Now, what that does is this is an opportunity to redirect inner focus. So when we shift self-gratification and we actually start to direct it from the inner light, the inner self, it allows us to take the inner focus and shift our influence to evolving into something more spiritual, evolving our material world into spiritual. If that is done, if the inward reflection is purified or freed, then what happens is the spiritual aspect influences the vessel, material reward will become through. I really want to emphasize that this energy is going to be highly spiritualized, because the rulers of the moon's placement, both in sign, Venus, which is located in Scorpio, and the lunar mansion, Swati, ruled by Rahu, is in Pisces. So both rulers are in specific degrees of spiritualization. Not only is this sign emphasizing the balance of spiritual and material, the key in this aspect is to shed the personality. Okay. Another thing is because of the positions, the health and the care is going to arise. So it's going to be deep within the unconscious faculties. Like, how are you caring for yourself? What is healthy? How is your external environment affecting your mental well-being? How are you directing your life force? How is that healthy? Is it in balance? What is the care that you're giving? And is it going to be a self-giving, giving? So a lot of this is going to bring a lot to light from an inner perspective. Again, the mind will shift, and this is intentional. This is deep within the unconscious. If this is done properly, it'll allow a deeper shedding of the self, of the personality. Greater health will come forward. It is freedom of the personality. And from that freedom, the self allows a greater emergence, a regeneration from within. It is a freedom from the binds. Now, achievement is going to be led by the soul. So for many of us, this is going to be a focal point of how you direct yourself, how you cut away, and how you are directing your life force and energy that is going to be more healthful, more fruitful, and that is going to propel you. So here you have the perspective of the self in a new directive. But it is going to free you from any binds that are going to be predicated solely on a personal gain and a personality. If you are just banking on some aspect of your personality, it will ask for that to be evolved. This is a deeper longing that will begin to emerge. And it's going to show motivation, not from the self, but from the soul. And that is what is to be materialized. Now, because of the changes within the psychological orientation will shift, it's going to change how you interact with the external world. This is really strong in Swati. It's going to ask how you cultivate from within. Swati is symbolized by both the butcher and the coral. Okay? It's, as I mentioned, it's connected to the star Arcturus at 10 degrees setting. This star, Arcturus, was the warrior that became the farmer. It's the plow that begins to cut through. Now here we see the similarities between Swati, the lunar mansion, having the symbology of the butcher. Now this is very much about cutting away. The symbolism of the coral is about regeneration. Just like the once warrior had the sword and now is the plow, the bearer of the agriculture, right? Cutting away and regenerating new life. They have the similar symbology that is indicating what needs to unfold this month. Cut it away and generate something new from within. Arcturus is going to be the cultivation. It shows what is lying hidden as the sun rises. Our soul is trying to show us this unseen aspect that is guiding us into cultivating from what lies within. Now, when we correspond the star and its meaning and the lunar mansion and its meaning, we can start to understand how to regenerate from within. This is how you're going to apply it into your daily life. Start to cut away the minutia. Start to cut away things that are wasting only, that are for self-personification, that are only driving the ego aspect. Allow your life force, allow the directive of your life energy to be something that is bringing your inner self and your inner motivations into life, cultivating a deeper aspect of your desires. Once the cultivation of your inner desires becomes the focal point, the inner motivation and not the personification, what begins to happen is that materiality will then come forward. Material well-being will then unfold. The aim will shift. Because this is, as previously mentioned, it's going to depend on the restructuring and the reassociation from within, the cultivation of the soul. Because Rahu rules this sign and its current placement is in Pisces and Venus, again, is in Scorpio, their unique positions are going to emphasize spirituality. Because Venus is located in Jyeshta and Rahu is located in Uttara Bhadrapada. What that means is there's going to be a heavy predication on not only spirituality, your connection with the etheric, but in addition to that, the deeper soul aspect that lies beyond this realm, the karmas that need to play through. The addition to this is this sign, both in Arcturus and in Swati, indicate abundance and success and honors. The nature will naturally seek itself. Honors, abundance, and success in your endeavors will ensue if you become spiritualized in your nature. If you start to shed the personification or the self-reliance, if you cut away all of this ego mechanisms, you're able to start to hone in or cultivate that inner sense of being. Then the success begins to come into fruition. This aspect of this sign really plays exceptionally well in terms of business. Right? It's the movement of life force that has to find a way. It's a sense of determination that will cut from the inner sense of being. That being said, I really want to mention that because of these unique placements of the ruler of where Venus is located, and also where Rahu is located, the pranayama breath work is going to be exceptionally powerful this month. If you do not have it within your practice, Nadi Shodhanan, alternate nostril breath, will be exceptional, okay? Or breath retention will be phenomenal. And that's an inhale for 5, exhale for 5, hold on the bottom of your exhale for 5 seconds, and then smooth and steady. And just repeat that for 10 minutes each day at sunrise. At sunrise, because that's when Arcturus is going to rise with the sun. Okay, another aspect is well-being is going to be highlighted. So you have to cut away any influences that are not going to benefit the investment in yourself. The benefit that's not going to invest in the recreation of yourself. Be that activities, be it in health and wellness and business, and any aspect that involves your inner light, your inner self. You must plow your fields and free yourself from the ego. Work exceptionally hard towards what your inner motivation is moving you towards. All right, lastly, the full month is going to happen on the 15th. This is so unique because for the first time this year, we have the lunar days actually matching our Gregorian calendar, the solar days. So this new moon, the 1st, is matching the 1st of November. So this entire lunar month will match exactly until the end of this month. So the full moon on the 15th, literally the Ides are halfway through the month. The moon will move into Aries and the sun will move at the very last point of Libra bordering Scorpio on the full moon. This is when Saturn will move direct. What that means is there's going to be more full force of effects that will come into play on the full moon. And as always, the full moon is going to bring into full light that which we need to see, the aspects of this month, i.e., moving from the inner self. Use your life force properly. Motivate and unearth your true self. The true you is strong and it knows how to move you. So trust in that. Move yourself and get really clear on what moves you and what you are moving towards and for. Know your own inner cause and effect. And that is going to be so heavily predicated or so strong this month in terms of the theme. All right, my loves, I hope you enjoyed this reading and this monthly overview. And as always, please visit that Notion page. It's in the description box below. It's just resources for you to help tune in and follow the stars. As always, tanti baci, lots of kisses. Ciao.